I'm Joe, and we are in my house in Webster Groves. Well, we lived in Webster for about 10 years or so. Our kids were already in school here, and we've got family here in Webster. And honestly, I just think my wife and I both fell in love with the area and knew we wanted to stay in Webster. We just ran out of space where we were. We knew we were looking for a historic home that we could do a renovation on and kind of make our own. It was a disaster. It had not been lived in a decade by anything other than raccoons. So it was a total mess, The first time we walked through the house, David Hercules walked through with me, and he had a notebook in hand and was just kind of looking at the many things that needed to be dealt with. He was really thorough. I think we spent a couple hours in here just sort of looking at all the ins and outs of the project, the big things, the little things. I think it was a confidence building experience just walking through with him. Like, you could tell he'd been through a lot of old homes like this before, and I think we both knew it was going to be a big project if we did it, but it was a good confidence builder. I've heard stories from friends or others who've gone through renovation jobs and have had to piece together architecture and design and construction, and even pulling in different subs to do things. And it definitely was appealing to be talking to a company that had all of that under one roof. I knew I wasn't going to have to be a general contractor pulling together all the pieces, which is not something I felt equipped to do or had time to do. So hiring a design build contractor was something we kind of set out to do from the beginning. Webster Groves tends to be a little bit tricky with the architectural review board, and Hercules just took it out of our hands and made it very easy. We didn't have to go to the meetings. Everything seemed to just get approved. Working with a company that has been through that before took a lot of pressure off us. One thing we really liked about the design process was early on at the very beginning, the Hercules team met with us. We talked about styles that we liked, like sort of what our vision for the house was. They did a great job listening and sort of taking into account what we envisioned for the home. Every step of the way, it would often be, okay, we talked about this. Here are 3 options for what we might be doing with, cabinetry, or what we might be doing with even specific light fixtures. And there was always a lot of consideration given to all the fine details, which I think was kind of what made the house really unique and special in the end. The team at Hercules was super thorough from the beginning. I remember it was probably a 30-page document with every detail listed out. It gave us a lot of confidence that there weren't going to be big surprises along the way. They'd thought through the potential problems that might emerge, or things that other contractors might just say, we'll deal with that when we get there. And if there's more costs, oh well. We didn't really have many of those surprises because everything was very thoughtful and laid out in a straightforward way from the very beginning. Yeah, if somebody asked us whether we'd recommend using Hercules, absolutely we would. Everything from first touch to the house being completed, we felt like we were in good hands. Every Friday morning we were here, 7 o'clock a.m. standing meeting, looking at progress, talking about what's behind. They were very transparent about where we were through the whole process. The design process was fantastic. The architecture process was fantastic. We're just thrilled with the final product.